Greetings, fellow nerds and geeks. Why don't you pull yourself up a chair, grab yourself a beverage, and prepare to enjoy a geek-tastic conversation. Welcome to the Geek Easy.
Welcome back to the Geek Easy podcast. This is episode 61 for February 13th, 2019. I am Pixel Dan Erdley, and I am joined today by my co-host, Jarin McCaffrey. What's up, buddy?
I've been upgraded to co-host now, huh?
Well, you're both co-hosts, but Jonathan is not with us today. He is taking the night off, but no fret. He'll be back for the next episode, and of course,
I'll be demoted back to also and.
And also, and your official title. Yes. Make sure we start putting that on like the captions over your name there on the screen. Co-host, also and. Yes, plus we'll be recording new episodes of our spin-off podcast, The Streak Easy and Marvel Good Yay soon, and Jonathan will be back for those as well. We're coming up on Avengers, which is going to be really exciting. Hopefully you guys have been listening to those spin-off podcasts because we've been having a lot of fun recording those.
Yeah, total blast.
Total blast. It's been great revisiting, especially the MCU stuff.
Yep.
Been loving rewatching that. But we've got a whole bunch of new stuff to talk about today. At first, I felt like we were kind of like struggling to figure out what we were going to talk about.
It was, man.
Then it all just kind of like came in and came together real quick for us. So.
Yeah, I've been watching. I've been trying to get better. The first week I was on, I talked about how I don't really look at this stuff, so you guys are just going to have to look and let me know.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get better about looking because I don't just want my, like my topic to be wrestling every time.
Yeah.
You know? So I've been trying to expand my horizons and find some new stuff, and I'm out there looking, and I'm just like, is there anything? Do I just not know how to work the internet? I don't know what's going on right now. Because I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
And luckily then I emailed you and John, and I was like, guys, I don't know what do we have a time? And you guys were both like, yeah, we got nothing. I don't know. There's nothing happening right now. And I was like, oh, awesome.
Not just you. Not just you. But then, of course, things happen, which is great. Yeah. Because, man, the internet's been buzzing about this stuff, too, so it's perfect timing. Yeah. So why don't we just dive right in? Because this right here has already been a hot topic online today. I don't know if you saw all this. It's already spawning lots of memes and silly stuff.
Oh, goodness.
It's the teaser trailer, the first real teaser trailer for Disney's live-action Aladdin movie.
Yeah.
It premiered during the Grammys over the weekend. And I think the biggest thing from this is that it finally gave us like our first full look at Will Smith as the genie.
Yep.
And that's what's got everybody talking.
which is interesting. I haven't seen any of the social media, so I don't know what they're talking. But
it's a lot of Blue Man Group jokes, a lot of Watchmen jokes, Dr. Manhattan jokes. It's a lot of stuff like that. I don't know. Okay, so I remember we talked about this a little bit, I think, in the past because those pictures first came out in, I don't know.
Yeah, when everybody was mad that he wasn't blue.
And, so everybody was mad at that point that he wasn't blue, but like he actually had to like come out at that point and be like, guys, whoa, this was just a photo shoot for a magazine.
Yeah.
This is like me in my human appearance, probably from like the parade scene where he's like a human. I'm going to be mostly CG and blue in this movie. Like he had to come out and say that because everybody was freaking out. So I feel like that they like made sure to shove that in this trailer so that everybody could see it. Which almost makes me wonder, too, if it wasn't quite ready or, like, as good as it could look. Because it didn't look as good as it could look.
It's kind of round.
He's
like puffy. I don't know. I guess. Well, I guess that's how the genie looked in the cartoon.
It seemed like they were kind of trying to capture the weird proportions of the animated one, but like also he just looks like cartoonishly muscular.
Right.
And The thing that I thought was weird is, like, I mean, he's so floaty looking because the genie's floating.
Well, he doesn't have a lower body.
Right, but, like, I feel like his face looks like it was, like, copied and pasted on this cartoon character, right?
Yeah.
Like, it looks weird.
Yeah.
It looks real weird. I hope that the final film looks a little more polished than this. That's the other thing. I saw lots of people saying he looked like the Ang Lee CGI Hulk and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah,
that was the first thing. So hopefully, I gotta assume that there's gonna be some polishing.
There's got to be, right? I mean, we've seen some super good CG from Disney, so I would imagine that they've got.
I mean, yeah, and you're totally right because it doesn't look like it looks like they copy pasted his face, not like they did motion capture stuff, which is the standard. Like that's just what they do now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely strange looking. I hope it plays out better. Aladdin's my favorite Disney animated movie.
Favorite?
So it is. Yeah. That is my favorite. I love Aladdin. So I feel like this is going to be one that I'm already going to be overly judgmental over because of that. And I try not to be that way, but that happens sometimes when you really like something. Because I was already nitpicking weird things in the trailer. Like, I'm not sure I'm feeling Jafar. And I think it's because, like, of his voice.
Okay.
And, like, it's because I've already got that voice in my head.
Right.
Like, he's kind of got this raspy, like, I don't know, evil wizard voice. Yeah. And then in this trailer, that's not at all how he sounded. But also, how come in the scene where he's bringing Aladdin to the Cave of Wonders, he's Jafar and not, like, in disguise as that wretched old man like he was in the movie? He didn't reveal himself as Jafar until after he got the lamp.
Good call.
So, what are you doing, Disney? What are you doing, bros?
I didn't even think about
changing
that
all up on us, I guess. Which, I mean, they do that for these. They don't make them, like, completely identical to the animation, but I don't know. That stood out to me right away. Yeah. I was like, wait, that's not how that happened. That's not the way I remember it happening.
For sure.
But I don't know. It didn't show us... some of the visuals look really good, honestly. Like, the costuming looks cool. And, like, you know, the characters are recognizable, I guess, as the characters. So... we have a long way to go, I think.
We have a long way to go.
Yeah, it's early.
A lot of polish, hopefully.
Yeah.
He did the whole, all we got out of the genie was, what did he say? I'm the genie. You ain't never heard of me?
Yeah.
Wishes, magic lamp, like.
Yeah.
Just in, like, the full-on Will Smith voice.
I know, right?
I'm not in for that genie. Like,
he's full on, like, in West Agrabah, born and raised.
Yeah, for real. And I've been trying to. I've been adamantly against everybody who's like, Will Smith is no Robin Williams or what. Everybody who's kind of criticizing, like, how are we gonna have the genie that's not Robin Williams, right?
Well, because you can't just be Robin Williams' genie. Like,
if
you're gonna be the new genie, you have to be your own genie. And I guess, to be fair, Robin Williams was just Robin Williams in that character. So I guess Will Smith's just gonna be Will Smith in this role. I don't know.
I'm less interested in that. I'm less interested in that.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Lowry and the genie get up. Not for me. I don't think.
I saw. I might have brought this up before too, but I saw Aladdin on Broadway.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be better than this movie. But I don't know. I'm judging early.
It's early.
to judge. Yeah.
I really and who knows? I really liked Maleficent.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I was indifferent on Maleficent. I didn't like how they decided they were like, well, she's an anti-hero now. I didn't feel like they needed that.
See, I liked that.
They made the king a bad guy. Like, the king's the villain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked how they still worked in all the classic elements.
They did. And the visuals were great in that movie. Like, the entire scene where she shows up at, like, the birthday party or whatever looked like it was ripped straight out of the animation.
Yeah.
I loved that part.
See, I thought it was different enough that you could look at it and say... You could look at appreciate all the elements they added without comparing it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I really liked that. It felt like it didn't feel like they were saying, "You saw the cartoon. Here's what really happened."
Okay, it was
more like they took all the elements and they were like
told a different story. It's an alternate universe.
Yeah,
alternate timeline.
Yep. So I totally appreciated that.
Okay, what did you think of? Did you watch Beauty and the Beast?
Hated Beauty and the Beast.
Did you really?
Hated Beauty and the Beast.
So I feel like it definitely, Beauty and the Beast definitely hit the musical numbers well. Like, I mean, that's what they were totally going for with that movie. They were like, let's do it live action, but just go full on, like, let's make sure we hit all these songs and do them exactly like the cartoon. Because that's the way that movie felt to me. It felt like they were just live action versions of the musical scenes from the cartoon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So my complaint with Beauty and the Beast is almost like the exact opposite of what I like.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. I felt like it was
too much like the cartoon.
I felt like it was the total polar opposite.
Okay.
It was because it was the exact same story. Mm-hmm. You'd argue whatever. I felt not told quite as well.
Okay, well, I will agree with that.
Okay,
I will agree with that. I mean, come on, Beauty and the Beast is like one of their probably greatest of their animated movies of all time, right?
Yeah.
Like that's at least the one that's recognized that way.
Yep.
So yeah,
you know, with like what, an extra half an hour? That movie's like 2 hours long. You know what I mean? It took them longer to tell the story, not as well.
Well, they had to add all the weird extra stuff with like LeFou feeling guilty and like
which is all stuff that like brings the movie down. That's another thing. You know, like the live action Beauty and the Beast. Like I was kind of bummed out. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they tried. It was almost like they tried to answer like all those little nitpicky things. You know, well, how come the town doesn't know about him, and how come nobody, you know, none of the people in the castle have like families, or you know what I mean, like all those little nitpicky things that people thought they were so smart pointing out about the cartoon.
So they tried to give an answer.
It's like they tried to answer all those things.
Didn't they say something like, because they said it was part of the spell, right? Was that everybody forgot about all that stuff and forgot about the family members that were missing and stuff like that? Yeah,
and they tried to explain like why. You know, like everybody, you know, why everybody was being punished along with the Beast. Like, oh well, we let him be that horrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty loose.
Can't the old witch who turns somebody into a beast just be an old witch? Like, you know, she doesn't have to be rationalized and like, you know. So I felt like it was a bummer. It just kind of made everything a little.
All right, I can feel
darker.
That. Yeah, totally.
And
Lion King looks like it's going to be a straight up remake.
Yeah, that's my thing about the Lion King. Like, why is that? Like,
they're like.
I feel like that's just totally a new cartoon. You know, they keep calling it like live action.
It's not live action.
It's just totally a new cartoon.
Here's our new animated Lion King. It's a remake of the old animated Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally. Like, man, we'll see. I really liked the Jungle Book. Mm-hmm. Aside from my one huge giant problem with it, I really liked the Jungle Book. So
and then Dumbo's coming out too. Have you seen the stuff for Dumbo?
No.
I don't know how I feel about that. So that's a Tim Burton movie too. So it's going to be very Burtonized, I'm sure.
I'm lukewarm on Tim Burton. I've never liked.
It looks like
Dumbo.
it looks like they changed some stuff too. Like they eliminated Timothy the Mouse. It looks like completely, and now there's like 2 kids that hang out with Dumbo. So I don't know, but meh.
Gotta ground it, bro.
We have to ground the flying elephant in reality? Okay.
How are you gonna believe an elephant can fly if you also have to believe a mouse can talk?
Are we gonna? I mean, the big question is there going to be singing racially insensitive crows in that movie?
Obviously not.
Okay, that's probably a good thing.
Man, yeah.
That's probably a good thing. Man.
I wonder, but you know, I fear, not fear. I assume they're gonna overcorrect that somehow.
Like overcorrect it instead of just like not including it. Like try to go the extra like unneeded effort.
Right. You know,
go the wrong opposite direction or something.
Yeah, they'll all be Republicans in sweater vests.
Oh no! What?
Golf field or something.
Great.
You know what I mean?
That's what we need. Yeah. Let's go ahead and just add a lot more politics into our Disney movies.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, Aladdin. Guess we got some time still to really make a decision on that.
Yep.
But all right, so let's stick on the trailer chain here, because one of the things we briefly talked about this in our episode about spin-offs and reboots. Or reboots and remakes, I guess is what it was. I guess spin-offs count.
And spin-offs, yeah.
But they finally released an official teaser trailer for the reboot of Child's Play.
Yeah.
And you wanted to talk about this, right?
Yeah. just because we had brought it up before and now we have an actual teaser, I think it looks good. I think it looks all the horror, like a lot of the horror movies they're making right now, kind of have like they're very Stranger Things influenced.
Of course.
Influenced,
of
right?
course, yeah.
And so they all kind of are also having that sort of gritty throwback look. And I thought this looked like very slick and very modern and very contrasty. I felt like there's a lot of color. You know what I mean? Which is the thing. I like the look of it, is what I'm trying to say.
I feel you. Well, and it definitely looks like they're going for that. I mean, they're modernizing the idea, right?
Yes.
So, like, it's like a technology company that's apparently created this super intelligent toy.
Yeah.
And did you notice that, what was he called? He was like Buddy, or what was the actual toy called?
The actual toy was Chucky the Good Guy doll.
The good guys.
The good guy, yeah.
So, like, I noticed in this, like, on his overalls, it said Buddy, but there was an I at the end of it, like the lowercase I, almost like iPhone or something like that. So, like, I don't know if they've changed the name of it, but they've kind of given it that modern, like, technology flair to it. Because it looks like he's supposed to be like a smart toy kind of a thing that fits right along with all your smart apps and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how much information has been released on this, but I think I saw somewhere, and I'm probably I shouldn't be saying this without knowing for sure. But
Check your sources, Dan.
I think they're ditching the whole serial killer spirit being trapped in the doll idea, and now it's just like a crazy robot thing, right?
I read that also. It's like an AI malfunction type.
So they've changed it into an artificial intelligence turning on humanity story, basically.
Which I'm all for.
iRobot, but with Chucky.
Terminator 1.
Terminator.
iRobot, too. That movie was stupendous.
Yeah, I know. That's a good one. Terminator with Chucky. I like it.
With Will Smith.
Yeah. The genie. It all comes full circle. It's amazing. The trailer is real quick stuff. Yeah. They don't even really show full-on Chucky. You kind of see, like, the backlit outline of him, and his hair is a little disheveled, and he's got, like, the striped little shirt on, so, like, he's obviously going to look Chucky enough.
Right.
But we'll probably have a bit of a more modern overall look to him. More sleek, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, you know, I was kind of curious. You mentioned the buddy thing. I was kind of curious if they weren't going to change it. Get away from... You know, like I haven't seen anywhere where he's officially called Chucky.
Well, didn't they call him? He called him Chucky in the trailer.
Did they call him Chucky in the trailer?
The kid called him Chucky in the trailer.
I missed that. I missed that.
Because I thought that was strange, too, because, like, that wouldn't actually be... Well, that wasn't the name of the doll in the old movie. Right. That was the name of the killer who was in the doll's body, right? So I wonder if he, like, names his toy Chucky or something in this one, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, he does. He yells out Chucky at him at one point in the trailer.
I guess I missed that.
I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm almost positive that
I probably am. I was probably too busy thinking about, I wonder if they're not going to call him Chucky.
Yeah.
Because instead of paying attention.
I feel like that's too connected that they would want, like, because most people don't even call the movie Child's Play; they call it Chucky, right? Like maybe they just.
Well, I guess I was just getting hopeful because we talked. I like the Evil Dead remix.
Oh yeah.
They don't really call them Deadites in that. They kind of change the mythology in that, and still keep all the, you know what I mean. And so with there being Bride of Chucky and Cult of Chucky and all the stupid Chuckies that they. Went on and that they destroyed the franchise with.
Those went off the rails, right?
I was hoping maybe they were going back and not going to call him Chucky. You know what I mean? Just go back to the...
Well, it's been a real long time since I've seen the first Child's Play, so I'm definitely going to watch that. We should watch that, and then we should go see the new one.
You need to see. You still need to see the old It, right?
I do need to see the old It still.
We need to. So now.
Let's just have like a horror movie night and just old It, new It, old Child's Play, and then we'll go see new Child's Play.
Ooh, I'm in.
That sounds bonkers. Let's do it. And then not sleep.
Yeah. And then not sleep. So tagging on to that,
yes,
I wanted to talk about because they released like a full trailer for the new Pet Semetary.
Yeah, we did bring that up in that same episode.
Yeah, in the same episode, we were talking about that, and we kind of talked about how it looked like they weren't. It didn't look like they had made any changes. It just looked like the same Pet Semetary, and why did we need that?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
What are we doing here, guys?
That was kind of our takeaway from it, for sure.
Yep. So with the trailer, we see one change and a bunch more stuff that still looks just the same to me.
Yes. So they got a bit of a twist, I guess, is what you could call it. Yeah.
The one big change is pretty major, though.
It is. And I'm honestly kind of shocked that they put it in the trailer. I feel like that would have been something that they could have saved for the movie.
Well, probably our fault because, not just ours, but like ours. I feel like, because probably all the buzz was
Oh, you think everybody was like, why is it just doing this exact same movie again?
Yeah.
So
that was all the buzz I heard.
Okay.
So they were like, oh, quick, we better show them what the change is.
Okay. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the trailer, which whatever, it's in the trailer, but the big twist is that instead of the little boy being the one that gets killed by the truck, it's the older sister this time. Big twist. So it's the older sister this time that's going to go through the whole crazy whatever.
Yeah. So the article I read had like a quote, or I don't know if it was I guess it was a quote from the guy who wrote who was directing the new Pet Semetary. And he said, his explanation was like, well, in the story, in the old one, the sister's the one who's asking all about death, and who is, she finds the pet cemetery, so it made sense that, to make her the one who goes through that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
I'm the same. It feels like one of those things where they're like making a change for the sake of making it a little different from the old one, and like I know we were complaining about it looking exactly the same, but this is like, I don't know, this isn't enough of a change for me. This is just like I don't really understand the purpose kind of thing.
So I'm actually much more interested in, I don't know if you noticed, but it almost seemed like there was a scene where the little girl's walking through the kitchen and the dad is like, hug your daughter, and the wife's freaking out.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like maybe the real twist is going to be a little more how in league the dad is with the daughter.
Oh, maybe.
So that's the one thing I noticed that has me still intrigued.
Okay.
Because now it's been a long time.
Such a creepy concept. The whole thing. That movie is kind of the original one. I always found very creepy.
Yeah. But in the original one, when the son comes back, the dad more or less instantly realizes how bad he screwed up. Right. And I mean, the little kid comes back and then instantly starts murdering everything. But the dad is instantly like as soon as the dad finishes burying him, the dad's kind of like, "Ooh, I can't believe I did that." you know. Like, oh, that was a bad call. And so if he is not that way,
that could be interesting.
That could present
another new dynamic.
Interesting, twist. Dynamic.
I feel like the trailer showed too much for a movie like this, because they were showing all kinds of crazy stuff, like the little girl like going through some sort of transformation and some stuff that were definitely most likely death scenes. Like oh my gosh, there's the part with John Lithgow going up the stairs and like they don't show what happens to him, but you can tell what happens to him, and I don't know if that's where he's gonna die, but probably. It's just stuff like that. I'm like, you don't want to put stuff like that in the trailer for like, this is what people go to these type of movies to see. And if you're just gonna throw it all in the trailer, I don't know, that kind of ruins it a little bit.
So here's and here again, I'll play devil's advocate, hopeful advocate, whatever. Maybe they got us, dude, because I will guarantee that everybody who saw the trailer, and I always go back to, in this instance, I go back to The Evil Dead a lot because I loved that one so much. So,
right.
Like that one was a best case scenario.
Right.
And there's a scene in, so spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie from 2005, but I don't remember when it was released. It's been out a long time. There's a scene one of the scenes in the trailer was one of the zombies, deadites, possessed girls, whatever, licking a box cutter and splitting her tongue down the middle. Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah. So everybody had that reaction, and of course my immediate thought was, well, that's as bad as that movie can get, and you put it in the trailer, right? Like that movie cannot get worse. That movie got worse. or better, depending on how you want to frame it.
Yeah, depending on what you like in those kind of movies.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a scene. Oh. And when it happens in the movie, you're not, no matter how many times you've seen that trailer, you're not any more prepared for it when it happens in the movie.
Oh my god.
However, that movie went on to that movie has a lot more than that to offer.
Okay.
So that's my only thing is if they're putting all this in the trailer, because there's two ways for this to go. They're putting all this in the trailer because they know something we don't, and they're gonna mic drop that and boom, walk out, and it's gonna be the revelatory.
Well, now that we've talked so much about this, I feel like we have no choice but to go see this when it comes out and do a follow-up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because now this is two podcasts that we've had a conversation about this movie, so obviously there needs to be some sort of payoff. Yeah, everybody's going to be asking us our final thoughts when this movie comes out.
So that's the deal. Well, we got to go. So that means we have to watch the old one first, so we can compare.
I am not going to sleep. Whatever weekend we decide to watch all these, especially with the Pet Semeteries. Just don't add The Exorcist in on it, because that's the one that. The Exorcist gets me.
Does it?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like of all the movies I've ever seen, that's the one movie that I was like, I'm sleeping with the light on tonight. And I don't know, really? That movie it's like a total, like, it's a psychological kind of...
That's fair.
I don't know why, but that movie got me, man.
I know so many people feel that way. I felt more that way after watching... So, old movies. The original Exorcist, I was more creeped out by the original Omen.
Oh, The Omen, that's pretty creepy, too. Yeah.
But, man, nothing has gotten me like The Ring.
Yeah.
And I was like 23 the first time I saw The Ring, man. And there was a solid 6 months where I couldn't walk past the TV in the middle of the night. No joke.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's awesome. Man, that's a lot of horror movies coming out too this year. Like kind of like already, like we're like all these like name. They're like and they're reboots.
Yeah, is the sequel to It this year?
Is that this year?
19 or 20? I can't remember if it's 19 or 20.
It might be actually because it's already been a bit since the first one came out, right?
I was gonna say I feel like it was 2017.
It Chapter 2, 2019. Boom. That's this year.
That's going to be a mic drop.
So we do have so we've got It Chapter 2, Child's Play, and Pet Semetary all in 2019, and all three of those are reboots.
Yep. I'm in.
And they're probably all going to be they're all going to make money, no doubt about it.
So does that mean once we finish the Marvel movies, we get to do
the
Geek Scary?
The scary.
Up to Halloween.
The Freakeasy.
The Freakeasy. Oh, I love it.
I think that's gonna have to happen now.
Yeah. Maybe we could just do that in.
When do all these come out? Are these like all gonna be like close? Well, this is September.
This one, yeah. I know. It is around that.
Let's see. Child's Play 2019.
I think that one's... I have no idea.
It just says 2019. Oh, June. So that's a summer movie.
Well, that's coming quick.
That is coming quick. And then Pet Semetary.
Pet Semetary is like this month, isn't it?
Is it that quick already?
No.
Oh, it's April. It's next. It's 2 months away.
It's close.
So all that stuff's coming up pretty quick, I guess. Yeah. April for Pet Semetary, June for Child's Play, and then September for It. So I was going to say, if they're all closer to Halloween, that could totally be our Halloween theme. But looks like we're going to have to get to it sooner than that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I guess as soon as we wrap up the Marvel stuff.
I was going to say, we'll find something else for the Freakeasy.
There you go. Very cool. All right. Well, a few more pretty interesting entertainment pieces of news that I wanted to talk about. Because it wasn't that long ago, and I don't remember if we brought it up here, but there was some news out there that Nickelodeon was once again going to be rebooting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the movie world.
Yep.
Which I found hilarious because they literally just ended those Michael Bay movies, which didn't, like, they lost a ton of money on the sequel, which was not good.
That was so bad.
I even defended the first one. Yeah, Out of the Shadows.
Yeah.
I defended the first one. I didn't love the first one, but I didn't think it was as bad as everybody was worried it was going to be.
For sure.
And then the second one,
the first one got so much like residual Transformers hate.
It really did.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Well, and then like the Turtles looked the way they did, which they're not good looking. I still agree with that. But like the movie itself, not as bad as everybody was worried it was going to be. The second one was as bad as everybody was worried it was going to be.
The second one was as bad as everybody made the first one out to sound like.
And the weird thing is I feel like everybody liked the second one better, but I think it's because they all got sucked into the Bebop and Rocksteady thing. And I will say that I liked Bebop and Rocksteady were the highlight of that movie. Everything else about that movie was just I was bored to tears watching that movie.
It was so bad.
And
everything was bad about that. Krang was ridiculous.
All of it. The Krang stuff, the Technodrome stuff. Like, everything that they tried to shove in there to go, look at us, guys. We know what you want.
So bad.
No, man.
Look, we watched the old cartoon just like you. No, you didn't. Michael Bay, you ain't never watched a Turtles cartoon in your life. I knew that after I saw the first one.
Yeah.
But I let it go.
So, then, Nickelodeon started a brand new cartoon series this year called Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which got equal amounts of hate as the Michael Bay movies did. And it's because of the designs of the characters and the designs of the animation. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they ended the 2012 series to start this one because most everybody loved the 2012 series.
Anybody who didn't like the 2012 series, if you're out there right now, you can come fight me.
It is the best Turtle series, ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just the best one because it was the perfect mixture of everything we love about Turtles alongside doing its own thing. Yep. And it was for kids, it was for adults, it was perfect.
It was so good.
So I also was bummed when it ended. However, I do feel like they at least gave it a proper story.
I felt like it
ended. It had a good they literally ended the story of that show and then did a whole nother season after it.
And I would venture to say that they had gone as far as that story could go anyway.
Yes,
they didn't.
Agreed.
It had it not ended to start this, that show was over anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So this new show was meant to aim at a younger audience because they're trying to get new kids and they're trying to introduce new kids to Turtles.
Yep.
That always meets resentment. And I don't know if you've watched any of Rise. I've only watched a handful of episodes, and I'll be perfectly honest, it doesn't feel like it's for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's for me. I am not one of those people that's actively against or hating on this show.
Right.
But I have not felt the need to watch it the way I felt the need to watch the 2012 show.
2012.
You know what I mean?
Man, you told me about the 2012 show for a while before. I think it was probably in season 3.
Yeah.
And you had been telling me about it, and I was like, whatever, I don't watch cartoons anymore. And then one day I happened to cross the box set of the first 3 DVDs or whatever for cheap. It was $9.99 on sale or something, and I was like, well, this is way easier than hunting them down and torrenting them or anything, pirating them or anything I would do. And I picked them up and I was hooked, and now I own the whole season on DVD.
I know. I wish they would. I still wish they would release
whole series.
I wish they would release proper season box sets of that because the only thing I bought that season 1 box set they released, where they basically just crammed the first 3 volumes into a box, but they didn't do that for any of the other seasons.
And they are so confusing because some of them are 3 episodes, some of them are 12.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
And I've only got that first box set and then 2 or 3 random volumes. So I'm missing a whole bunch of that show. And I fear that they're not going to release any of those now that they've moved on.
Yep.
Which is kind of crappy. But anyway, the news that we're getting to is that Nickelodeon and Netflix have announced that they're doing a brand new animated movie based on Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I thought that was really interesting that we're getting a Netflix exclusive movie, but it's an animated movie.
Yep.
And I don't know if this is the movie that we heard about when we heard that they were rebooting.
Yeah.
Or if this is something separate.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know if they're still going to do a live action Turtles.
That's good. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't imagine they wouldn't do another live action Turtles.
Yeah, I agree.
They transitioned seamlessly from the Michael Bay Transformers to whatever Bumblebee is going to be now.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So it's not like they're in the mindset of, man, they totally wrecked that franchise, we better rest it for a little while.
No, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's just not the world we live in anymore because they've got us all so conditioned with reboots and remakes that nobody bats an eye when that stuff happens anymore. And Nickelodeon owns the Turtles.
Yeah.
And so they're going to keep shoving it out there as much as possible because they want to make their money on this property that they paid a lot of money for. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's really the main. Maybe I'm wrong. That feels like the only thing Nickelodeon owns that is like a legacy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they own SpongeBob, which is like where they make all their money, really, is SpongeBob.
That hurts my heart a little bit.
It's weird because it came out after we were really watching Nickelodeon and then grew to like massive proportions way beyond anything we ever watched on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, which is why I say I guess I don't know Nickelodeon much. I always forget intentionally, not by accident, SpongeBob is a thing. Like I work very hard not to know that SpongeBob is a thing, but then every time it comes up, like, oh yeah, SpongeBob.
I don't dislike SpongeBob, but I don't really watch much SpongeBob either. I never really did. But I know a lot of people like it. So
painful. The handful of episodes I've been forced to watch.
Yeah.
Were like painful for me to watch.
Like you got like tied down and like had to watch it.
You got the Clockwork Orange things
like
to hold
keep
my
your
eyes open.
Oh no.
Yep.
Well, I'm curious about what happens with this Netflix movie. I know that a lot of people instantly got disappointed when they were like, "Oh, it's Rise of the Turtles."
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how Rise is performing because I don't feel like we hear much about it the way we heard about the 2012 show. If I'm judging based on the toy sales, which is what I pay a lot of attention to, the toys came out like back in, gosh, what was it? It was like in the summertime.
I feel like they came out before the show started, right?
They definitely did. Yeah. Right before the show debuted. It was definitely in the summertime. They've really only released one series of toys still, and those things sat on the shelves all through Christmas. Like a lot, with the 2012 series, and like this is no exaggeration, I would walk into the toy stores at Christmas and the turtle section would be empty. There would be nothing there. These things were well stocked all through the holidays and they're still there, which kind of leads me to believe that they're not performing as good as they hoped. Yeah. But this is just me totally judging off what I'm seeing with my own eyes in stores. So I don't know.
So here's a new dynamic that maybe that like I'm just thinking of. Okay. And maybe this is something we haven't seen. Mm-hmm. So we're in the first generation where we still hold on to our kid interest, sensibility, like the stuff from our the entertainment from our childhood.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So now that stuff is kind of like religion, in that it's what we want to pass on to our kids. So like so we've talked a lot about the Rise, how it's not for us, it's for the kids today. But if the parents don't like it,
and they're not letting their kids watch it,
and or not pushing their kids to watch it,
I get that. I see what you're saying.
So like when you think about the 2012, and we watched the 2012, and we're like, this is so awesome. Jimmy, Betty, come in here. Look how awesome this is.
Yeah.
And then versus when we go, oh, here's the Rise of the Ninja Turtles. I don't like this. Jimmy, grab me the DVD from the 2012. Let's put that back in. Versus
that's an interesting thought that I haven't really put together before.
Yeah. Me either. Just right now thinking about it, because I'm thinking like, because my immediate thought when you said the toys aren't flying off the shelves like they were for the 2012, we also buy, our generation also still buys toys.
Yes. Yep.
So that contributes to it.
Right.
Versus if they walk in there, so for our generation it didn't matter because our parents didn't know what we like, and we just said, oh, I like the Ninja Turtles, and they were like, well, this is a Ninja Turtle, that's what he says he likes. They didn't have the Ninja Turtles.
Exactly. Right.
Never mind the fact that they didn't have
that's kind of
much from their child. They didn't have the same like holdover the way we seem to.
Yeah, you're right.
So now we've got all this holdover where we're like, nah, it's not my Ninja Turtles. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how necessarily adamant the parents are really going to be about, we're not watching Rise in my house. You know what I mean? Like we're Nickelodeon's Ninja Turtle, we're a 2012 Ninja Turtles household. I don't necessarily know that it's that, but there is a huge something to be said for when Dad goes, oh, Jimmy, check this out. I used to watch this when I was a kid, versus when he goes, man, I don't, Rise.
Not my turtles.
Yeah, put SpongeBob on.
Yeah,
whatever.
No, you're probably right. Yeah, I mean, I bet that does have something to do with it. And I did kind of, to an extent, think about that in the sense that, like, when we were kids, this was all brand new stuff.
Right.
Like, there was no, I mean, like, we were the first generation that experienced Turtles and experienced He-Man and experienced Transformers and experienced all of this stuff. And now this stuff has all just been around since we were kids.
Right.
So every generation after us is, like, experiencing what we started, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there probably is something to be said for, like, how much the parents care about, like, actually helping to push their kids in the direction of that stuff. Man. That's crazy.
And now they're gonna, and that means, and that also is wild, because that means this is gonna be the first generation where they're gonna have to think about that.
Yeah.
Corporations. Yeah. I mean, corporations are gonna have to think about that.
Yeah.
Because they can't just throw out there. Well, if we throw out Rise, it's for the young kids. The young kids will watch it. Man, if you
that's totally the way that they were pushing this too. Yeah. I mean, they were pushing hard. They were like, we're skewing younger on purpose. We're making them we're like giving them superpowers on purpose, because we're trying to hook young kids this time. And the 2012 series was definitely geared more at, like, older kids, and this one we want to be for younger kids. Like, they were pushing that hard, and I wonder if that's working the way they were hoping it would. You know what I mean? New York Toy Fair is next weekend. I'll be real curious to see, like, what they have to show for Rise. I'll definitely be talking to the folks at at Playmates Toys, because I kind of want to just ask them, like, how are these doing?
Yeah.
Like,
is this what you guys wanted?
What can you tell me about these? Because I know that Playmates even has, like, they, ever since the original toy line, they've had a good chunk of, like, say in, like, what happens with Turtles. Like, I don't know how the ownership works, and especially now that Nickelodeon owns the brand, I don't know how much Playmates actually has in say, but they push a lot of that stuff, like, definitely with the kid-friendly stuff. Like, they push that agenda because they want their toys to be, I mean, they want kids to buy the toys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. And you can't blame them for that. That's the way this business works and the way all of it works. So,
well, that's going to be another one of those things that's going to be as big a shift for these corporations as I feel like what we were talking about, or maybe it's just the same thing, But, like, in the 80s, like all of this, we feel this way because in the 80s, Reagan made it okay to make cartoons to sell toys.
That's right. It was illegal to do that before.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have grown up, we're the first generation that's grown up with them getting our hooks in us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And being able to condition us this way.
Yep.
And back then, all they had to worry about was sell the toys to kids will tell the parents will buy the toys.
Yep.
Now, we've got all this, like, childhood, I don't want to call it trauma, but, like, all these childhood hang-ups that influence what we want to buy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have kids. I have no kids, so this is theoretical in my terms. But, like, how much does that influence? I don't know. Like, you are a parent. Yeah. How does that play in with you?
I think I'm in a different position because of my knowledge on all this stuff.
Fair.
And I try real hard not to push my stuff on Spencer.
Right.
I want him to discover his own things and like his own things. I absolutely show him things that I really like, but if he's not digging it, I don't push it.
Yeah.
I've tried to sit him down in front of He-Man a couple times. He doesn't really care.
Yeah.
The best I can get out of him is that he will run around the house with a power sword sometimes and say he's He-Man, but he won't watch He-Man.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He has found his own things that he likes.
Is that because those cartoons are so bad?
Modern ones aren't all that different when they're aimed at the little kids.
Well, I don't know because I don't watch those.
That's true.
That's fair. I just know when I watched I watched the 2012 Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
No problem. I just watched it. I was like, this is awesome.
You're right.
And I've tried to go, and I watched He-Man when I was a kid, and I've tried to go back, and I've talked about this on a previous episode.
Even try going back and watching the original Turtles. Go try to watch that. It's rough.
So I did.
And a lot of people forget that.
And it was.
A lot of people forget that.
I did.
People still try to defend that as like the best version, and it's like, I don't think you guys have watched it since you were kids.
When was the last time you watched it?
I love it too, but I mean, let's really talk about this here.
I would not say I thought it was much better than He-Man.
Okay.
I would and because I did.
All right.
I went back and I went back and watched a bunch of it on YouTube. Right before the first Michael Bay movie came out.
Oh, okay.
So this is not like a long time ago. I remember it like I went back and watched it, and it was rough. Man, I think it's head and shoulders above He-Man to watch.
You're probably right, but
not lots. Like there was definitely times like. I caught stuff, you would notice when the wrong turtle was speaking with the wrong voice.
Oh, that I used to
like that happened.
I used to catch that when I was a kid.
I don't ever remember catching that before.
I did. That used to bother me. Or they definitely switched voices for some of the characters. Like at some point, like in one of the seasons, a character switched, and I always remember being like, "Why does Donatello sound different now?"
Yeah,
like that used to bug me when I was a kid. But
I don't ever remember noticing that stuff. I remember noticing some of like the repeat, like there's repeat voices for like side characters.
Yeah.
I remember noticing that. I don't remember noticing when the wrong turtle would talk. Although I was such a big Turtles fan, I assume I had to. I just don't remember it.
Right. I mean, we were all big Turtles fans.
Yeah,
that was a thing. Yeah. Well, there we go. We're getting a new Rise of the Turtles movie on Netflix.
We'll see.
It is interesting, though, because this is kind of like a big deal with Nickelodeon and Netflix kind of working together like this for the first time,
well, somebody's got to show them up before Disney buys them both, right?
Oh, my gosh, you're right. Well, because I think it says in here, too, that Nickelodeon had a down fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And so I think this is probably part of their plan, hopefully, to have a better 2019 than they had 2018. So time will tell. We'll see what happens. Definitely interesting stuff. All right. While we're talking about streaming services, here's some crazy news that broke today, which I'm so glad broke on the day.
We got him. We got him. Got him.
Hulu and Marvel Television have partnered to produce 4 adult animated series. The shows will be based on the following Marvel characters: Howard the Duck, MODOK, Hitmonkey, and Tiger and Dazzler. What? Like the Marvel Netflix Defenders shows before them, the 4 characters will then team up in an animated special, The Offenders. Oh my goodness. Howard the Duck will be written and executive produced by Kevin Smith.
Yeah, man.
So, okay, so first of all, let's bring this out here. Hulu got this. We've officially made the jump from Netflix to Hulu.
That was my first thing. I was like, oh, Hulu, okay.
Because Disney has a majority ownership in Hulu now since they acquired Fox.
60%.
Yes. So
60%.
Yeah, so like I know that they're starting their own streaming service, but they're for sure going to use Hulu for everything that's like not
adult themed.
Yep, that's what they're going to use Hulu for. So we now have our Marvel shows jumping over to Hulu, and they're starting with 4 adult animated shows, which is not something I saw coming. Okay, so first of all, Kevin Smith.
Talk about this.
I don't even know.
Right.
But Kevin Smith producing and writing Howard the Duck sounds awesome, and I'm in.
Yep.
I am all in on this. I think that is fantastic. Howard the Duck is the perfect choice for an adult animated show like this. Especially since we've seen him in the movies twice now, and the way it looks like he's going to be animated, if this is the animation, looks very much like the way they presented him in the movie. So that's pretty cool. MODOK?
Man.
We're getting a MODOK show?
I got nothing. I got nothing, bro.
What even? Oh my goodness. So admittedly, I don't know much about MODOK other than he's the big head guy. He was definitely in an animated X-Men episode that one time when he was doing like the game show thing.
Which I think is probably the only place I actually know MODOK from. I don't think I've ever... And
I had a MODOK toy with my X-Men toys as a kid, and that is probably like the extent of my knowledge on MODOK.
Right.
Except he's shown up in some other cartoons and stuff too, but... okay. I mean, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. What else can you do? Why wouldn't we?
Tiger and Dazzler. Okay, cool. Yeah. I like Dazzler, but that'll be interesting. And then Hitmonkey, I know nothing about other than I've seen him before.
I'd never even heard of Hitmonkey.
Never even seen him. So they made an action figure of him like a year or so ago, and I feel like that was the first time I was like, who the heck is Hitmonkey? He's got a toy now. Well, now he's going to have an animated series. So now,
man.
Hey, they do some crazy stuff in the toy line. They that toy line. I'll tell you what, Marvel handles their toy line the way they handle their movies, where they always throw in weird oddball stuff like that. That's a total nod for like the actual diehard fans.
Right.
And so I always give them credit for doing stuff like that, because they'll release characters sometimes that I'll be like, I have no idea who this is. Guy. Yeah, right. But then you see this quadrant on the internet like throwing a celebration that they're getting a toy of this crazy obscure character. Yeah, exactly. So, I always got to give Marvel credit for like they're on the pulse when it comes to stuff like that, man. They do good by their fans, I think. This is some crazy news, and I can't wait to see how this develops. That's all I know.
I'm super juiced. I feel like it feels like it almost feels like a shot at Netflix. Netflix.
And the Defenders, because they're calling it the Offenders.
Right. However, it also feels like I don't want to say it worries me, but I would wonder if it's not a little indicative of them locking into their formula.
Okay.
And a little too because nobody liked the Defenders. You know what I mean? Like
I liked the Defenders.
I loved the Defenders.
Was the general consensus that it wasn't good?
Yeah, the general consensus was that they didn't like the Defenders.
How I missed that.
Yep, everybody I ever heard talk about it didn't like it. I loved it. I've loved everything except the Iron Fist. So like I was all in on all the Netflix stuff. But nobody liked the Defenders. There was a lot of like the Netflix shows in general have been very mixed, I feel like, in their receptions. So for them to just go all in right away on the same formula with a bunch of cartoons on Hulu, it almost feels like that.
Like a parody of the whole thing.
Well, it almost feels like a parody. That's why I said it feels like they're taking a shot at it. But, it also makes me wonder, are they just like, look, this is our formula, this is what we do.
That could be
we set up series, and then we put them all together.
We make universes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we create universes. Yep. All right, so there's actually some details on all this, okay. So I want to read this. Yes. So, in the series, Howard the Duck is trapped in a world he never made, but America's favorite fighting fowl hopes to return home with the help of his unstoppable gal pal Beverly before the evil Dr. Bong can turn him into the crispiest dish on the menu. Hey, that's the series description.
Can I just give you a hot take right now?
Okay, hot take.
Hot take. I still like the live action Howard the Duck.
Lucas one?
Yeah,
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. I can't even remember anything about it other than I can't remember what's her name. Leah Thompson. Yeah. She's in it. Yep. That's all I remember.
I don't fool myself into thinking it's a good movie. You're not gonna find me defending it. On any internet forums. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Still, I've watched it recently, and I'm in. Tim Robbins is in that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Go ahead. Sorry. All right, so MODOK will be written and executive produced by Jordan Blum and Patton Oswalt. Blum's previous credits include Community and American Dad. MODOK centers around an egomaniacal supervillain with a really big head and a really little body who struggles to maintain control of his evil organization and his demanding family.
So
what?
Number one, Patton Oswalt has to be the voice of MODOK, right?
Must be. He must be.
Okay. Because I will be upset. If he's involved with the project and not the voice of MODOK, I will be upset.
He seems like the perfect voice, honestly.
So the thing that really gets me is his demanding family. So is he going to have... So I'm already picturing it. Is this going to be one of those things where it's MODOK and he's got like a normal human wife and normal human kids?
Yeah, totally.
Or is there going to be a family of MODOKs? I don't...
Either way, I'm happy.
Yeah, right? I don't know if there's one I'm pulling for.
Oh my gosh.
But, that was, okay.
Hit Monkey will be written and executive produced by Josh Gordon and Will Speck, the team that previously co-directed Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
The show tells the tale of a wronged Japanese snow monkey, mentored by the ghost of an American assassin, as he cuts a wide swath through the Tokyo underworld.
So here's my hot take on this one.
Okay.
Number 1, Blades of Glory was my favorite of like the Will Ferrell sports.
Yeah.
I think Blades of Glory was
it's so funny.
The best. It was my favorite.
Yeah.
It was my favorite. Second of all, so that's just a monkey. He's not like a mutant monkey. He's not like somebody with monkey powers. He's just a monkey with a ghost.
By a ghost.
Yeah, he's a monkey with a ghost Miyagi, right? So I've never heard of him. I was instantly in.
And then Tigra and Dazzler hails from writers and executive producers Erica Rivenoja and Chelsea Handler. Rivenoja worked on the story for the film Girls Trip, and her previous writing credits include shows like The Last Man on Earth, South Park, and Grounded for Life. And it doesn't really give us a breakdown for that one.
Right.
So, yeah, man, this all sounds totally crazy, and I am on board.
So, Dazzler and Tigra. Awful close to She-Ra and Catra.
Whoa.
Yeah, right? That was my immediate first thought.
Even the way they're animated, like Tigra looks very Catra. Wow. Interesting.
You're welcome for that.
Interesting. Huh. And Dazzler's an X-Men character. This is something interesting. X-Men characters. Dazzler and MODOK are both from the X-Men world, and here they are in Marvel-produced shows.
Wow. Okay. So I
Tigra
think
too, right? Is
so,
Tigra an X-Men universe character?
I'm not sure.
I'm not super familiar with Tigra. I know her, but I don't know her, kind of a thing.
So I feel like as far as I know, MODOK definitely X-Men.
Yes.
I feel like
Dazzler's an X-Men. Right?
Dazzler's been. Did she start as an X-Man though? That would be my question. I know she's a mutant, but I almost feel like maybe she started as, kind of like
Tigra looks like she's been more involved with Avengers and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I wonder about
Marvel Zombies.
Oh, good.
I love Marvel Zombies.
I wonder about Dazzler.
Dazzler, Marvel Comics. Yep, usually associated
first appeared in
with
X-Men.
The X-Men. Yep, first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 130. So she is an X-Men character.
So are we able to? So
yeah, because that's the Dazzler I always think about.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
70s disco Dazzler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right, so that's
interesting stuff.
That's very interesting.
I didn't even think about that. We got some X-Men characters.
So it is. So I guess wow. I don't even know.
All right.
I guess what I'm thinking of is so they own Hulu because they're the majority share that they're getting into Hulu with is because they're buying Fox.
Right.
So are they just comfortable to go ahead and greenlit this stuff because it's through Fox, through Hulu, on Hulu. You know what I mean? Like that kind of circuitous, backwards. Like we can just go ahead and greenlight this, and we're going to be able to do it. And even if something were to go through and they couldn't buy Fox, I know that's not going to have that. I know that's a done deal. But like if something were to come back through, they can just go ahead and be like, no, this is totally Fox announcing this.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's on Hulu. It's on Fox.
Well. Interesting stuff.
This
is awesome. I like the way this stuff's developing. Yep. Well, that's definitely something.
I'm excited.
Did it say when any of this starts?
No, I don't think
it
so.
doesn't say when it starts. Okay. Awesome.
I hope it's not like Rick and Morty where like they do one season, then we gotta wait,
and then they disappear for a couple years, and then awesome. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap up all of the new news for the week. Which is going to bring us into our main discussion topic for today, which is going to be really something. So Jarin and I...
It's going to be really something.
Really something. I'm excited. Well, I feel like we're going to be the nitpickiest nitpickers when it comes to this one. And I'm not sure everybody's going to feel the same as us or agree with us, but it's going to be something to talk about.
Yes.
Jarin and I got the opportunity to go to an early screening of the new WWE films Wrestling with My Family. I don't think that comes out for another week or so.
It comes out the 14th. It'll be like out.
So
it'll come out tomorrow.
It comes out the day after this podcast. So,
Right.
Spoiler alert right now, in case you're
Yep.
planning to see the movie and you haven't watched it yet, you definitely want to skip this until you've actually seen the movie. But for anybody who is not familiar with this is essentially a based on a true story type movie, telling the story of WWE's Paige. This is based on an actual documentary that was filmed on Paige and her family over in the UK prior to her coming to the WWE. And the movie itself has some involvement by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
The Rock.
So it's
Produced.
It's directed by Stephen Merchant, who's the man known for The Office, which is a fantastic show, but it's produced by The Rock. And apparently this whole thing, I don't even know the backstory on it, but they totally make it sound like The Rock saw this documentary and went, that should be a movie, and then had this movie made.
Oh, that's basically that's how The Rock explains it.
That's totally how The Rock explains it.
I saw this documentary and I thought it was a great $7 production. You're like, yeah, okay.
So here we are now. We've got a theatrical retelling of this story of Paige kind of coming up in the UK as a wrestler, how she gets involved in it, which ultimately ends with her getting signed by the WWE and becoming the youngest female champion, the youngest women's champion, right? Was like that's totally the story they were telling with this movie, is that she's the youngest women's champion.
Yep.
Where do you even want to begin with
this?
Where do you want to start? I think it's worth reiterating that Jarin and I not only are like we pretty big wrestling fans, but we've also been involved in wrestling.
20-year vets, dog.
Yeah, we've been involved in the independent wrestling scene for a long time. So I feel like we definitely went into this knowing how things work, thus really taking us out of a lot of the things happening in this movie.
Man. This is I said to you after the movie like I'm getting flustered.
Already?
I'm already flustered.
Already?
I'm already
We haven't
mad.
even started
I'm
talking
already
about it.
mad. I'm already mad. I've been waiting to take this movie down.
Okay.
I wish I could have
excited.
gone to see it again so I could take notes. This needs a whole page of notes, and I'm just gonna have to go off memory. So Ready to Rumble is no longer the worst wrestling movie out there. Because this movie is.
Oh my goodness! Wow, straight on in.
Straight in. So it starts with Paige as like a little girl, getting beat up by her brother, right?
Right.
And Dad comes in, and it seems like he's going to yell at him for beating up his sister, but instead this part's in the trailer. But then instead he just corrects how he's holding it.
Right. He corrects the hold.
Right.
You gotta lock it like this, so you choke her a little bit, or
Right.
something like that.
Which I'll just start right there. He called it a sleeper. That's not how you apply a sleeper at all. He had her like across the chest and like, he's like, tighten it up there. Now she's in trouble. Like, no, she's not at all. Like, not even in fake wrestling. That's not how you put on a sleeper or how you apply. That wasn't a hold. That wasn't a hold. It's not like he called the hold wrong. It was not a hold.
Amazing.
So like right off the bat, and that's like one of the first scenes in the movie, if not the first scene in the movie.
It is the first scene in the movie, right?
So right off the bat, I was mad.
Yeah. I totally didn't even catch that.
So I caught that the first time I saw the trailer.
The trailer.
And I excused it.
Okay.
I was just like, whatever. And then when it came up in the movie, I tried to excuse it. So I don't know how much we want to get into it. I did through the movie, because everybody's going to say, well, you're nitpicking it because you're wrestlers. Through the whole movie,
But we are.
Well, that... Well, look, I'll come back to that. I mean, we definitely are, but I'll come back to that. Through the whole movie, I was doing this thing where I was trying to remind myself, like, it's not for wrestlers. It's mainstream. They're throwing it out there for mainstream.
Yeah.
And I tried to remind myself that every step, and it's still bad beyond that. Like, it was so bad I could not keep myself. I could not keep myself distanced that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I was super mad about that, and everything that happened in this movie just made me even madder and madder and madder. And as we'll get into, I feel like it wasn't believable in the mainstream.
I don't feel like it was either.
Yeah, it was
not. Like, I don't know. Okay, so there's so many weird stuff going on. We might as well just skip right to like all the stuff that's like the worst part, right? Okay, so like the whole front end of the movie is taking place in the UK and showing Paige's family is like tiny little indie fed and like how they're doing all that. And honestly, I enjoyed this part of the movie.
Yeah,
I liked it. I really liked Nick Frost. I thought he was hilarious.
Nick Frost is great as Nick Frost is always great.
Right,
yes.
right. They did some funny scenes. They did some super cliche stuff, like the part where they're sitting down to dinner with the proper family and they're the rowdy wrestlers, and then the proper family says something about wrestling being fake, so the rowdy wrestlers get offended, like super cliche wrestling fan stuff, right?
Yep.
But it's pretty enjoyable for the most part. I like all that stuff. Where the movie really started falling apart for me was the second the WWE got involved and like the story went from there, because Paige and her brother, what's her brother's name in the movie? Zach. Paige and Zach get invited to come in for a tryout,
right?
Because WWE's doing a live event over there in the UK and close to home. They're like, why don't you go? You can come in for a tryout, because they set up that they've been sending in tapes, and that's a real thing.
Yep, that's a real thing.
That's a real thing. That's how people try to get recognized, especially.
Yep,
a while back.
Dad calls in inappropriately and totally gets blown off by the WWE secretary.
Right,
that's a real thing.
I bet that's a real thing that happens all the time still. Honestly, so all of that is totally fine. So then they go to this show, which is where we get the Dwayne Johnson scene that everybody has seen a million times on WWE programming.
Which was the teaser for the movie. This scene.
Right. It's a little longer, but if you've seen the trailer, you get the gist of that entire scene. So then they start
where they stop him. We're just breezing over it. Where they stop him, they ask him for respect. He does they ask him for advice. He does a total rock promo.
Yeah.
And then it kind of buzzes off.
What's your names again? It doesn't matter what your name. Yeah, he goes into the whole thing, the whole shtick. So once they get past that, they start their tryout, which apparently is taking place in the basement of this arena.
Yeah, this huge arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down in the basement.
Which immediately was just like, that's not how that works.
Right, where they had a ring set up. Yeah. So they set up a ring in this basement.
Yeah.
And they just had a bunch of just the worst wrestlers.
So, yeah, that's the other thing. They had this group of wrestlers there for the tryout, and they literally picked, like, the worst-looking people ever. Like, people you would look at, obviously, and go, they would never be wrestlers in the WWE in a million years. And then Paige and Zach are there.
Yep.
It was totally absurd and just, like, it was ridiculous.
It was bad. And here's the thing. Like, I've seen... did you also notice they took one of the guys totally looked like
Nigel McGuinness, right? Or
not Nigel McGuinness. The one who's the champ right now, the bruiserweight.
The bruiserweight. Not Nigel McGuinness.
Oh gosh, it's terrible. I should know.
Yeah. Why can't I remember his name?
Is the bruiserweight Tyler Bates?
Let's see.
Yeah, just look it up.
I'll just look it up. Pete Dunne. Yes, I did notice that because he had like the fur coat on. He had the hair combed over the same way.
It was the champion. So interesting to them to like take a shot at him.
Yeah, why would they do that?
I don't know.
I guess maybe because he was there and they were like, "That's cool to know. We'll make sure you're there because you're one of our guys now." People will recognize that.
Maybe so.
Super weird. But aside from Pete Dunne being there, everybody else looked like schlubby backyarders.
Yeah, the schlubby, or schlubby indie wrestler.
Yeah, schlubby
like I've
indie
seen,
wrestlers.
like to be fair, all the guys that were at that tryout, I've seen at the indie shows I've been at. Like those are real wrestlers. Okay, you know who is not at the WWE tryouts? Those guys.
Yes.
And I can say that as somebody who has been at WWE tryouts.
Right.
They are not those guys. The guys at the WWE tryouts are generally the cream of the crops, the guys who look like they might be WWE wrestlers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so that's completely, and the WWE tryout. So this tryout is, first of all, happens in this basement where they have a whole ring set up, and they're just like, oh, here, have this match, and then he like judges them all based off this match, which is not how WWE tryouts happen, and I say that as somebody who's been to WWE tryouts. They don't just take you in the ring and they're like, have a match. You know, and with 8 guys, you have this 8-guy tag match.
That's totally what it was too. They were all like just literally taking turns getting in the ring and running a spot or something,
right?
Like on their own merits and just kind of doing their own thing. Did we mention that the trainer is Vince Vaughn?
Ugh, no.
So the trainer is Vince Vaughn.
I like Vince Vaughn.
And I like Vince Vaughn too.
To like Vince Vaughn.
Felt way out of place, right?
Yeah,
and he didn't come across as a WWE trainer, like a wrestling trainer. Just not at all.
He was just Vince Vaughn.
He was just
and Vince Vaughn is great, but Vince Vaughn is not the guy who's a WWE trainer.
Right. So ultimately, he dismisses everybody except Paige, and he invites Paige to come down to Florida, to come to NXT for some proper training. So that immediately starts that a little like the side story here is that like Zach, he tries to be happy for his sister, but he's super bummed out that like because this is what his life is supposed to be, and he spent his whole life like he's going to be a WWE star, so he kind of goes off on this whole like side trajectory of like falling down a bad path because he's so depressed he didn't get picked up. He goes down a bad path.
So let's just talk about this real quick so then we can focus on Paige.
Okay.
Because one of the things that really frustrated me with this is so they don't pick him, Zach.
Right.
And they kind of talk about that throughout the Vince Vaughn comes back and later there's a little thing we'll come back to when Vince Vaughn gives like the heart to heart.
Yeah.
But we look at him. So when you see Paige's real brother, he's like bald and tattooed and, like real hoodlum looking guy.
Yeah.
In real life, Paige's real brother.
Right.
They cast him as like handsome, well-built, blonde, short hair, stereotypic, the kind of guy that the WWE hires regardless.
Right.
Yep. So like, and Vince Vaughn will talk about his heart-to-heart with Paige where he explains why he didn't take her brother. But like that's not how that happens. The WWE does not pick, go to the tryout and sees, 16 schlubby guys and one guy who looks like a wrestler, like a WWE wrestler, and not pick that guy. Like, they take that guy, and they find out if he has something. They don't just decide, oh, no, he's not what we're looking for. Like, he looks like everybody the WWE hired.
Yeah. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, that's stupid. Now, her actual brother, we know why he didn't get hired, because he was a tattooed, hoodlum looking, you know what I mean? Like that is the type of guy the WWE does not hire, because he looks that way.
Yeah.
So, like, that, right off the bat, they're like, oh, no, nope, he's not the one. Yeah, he would have been the one.
Yeah, this actor would have
yeah, this actor.
Yeah.
They'd have taken this actor.
Yeah.
WWE's probably going to call this actor. Okay? They're like, hey, you doing anything?
Vince just calls him up. Hey, I saw your performance.
Yeah.
It was
hey,
fantastic.
Is this Paige's brother? Sorry we missed you, pal. I didn't know.
I'm not an actual wrestler. I was an actor in a movie. Yeah, okay. Ha, perfect. Are you ribbing me, pal?
All right, so Paige gets hired, and she can't believe she got picked and her brother didn't.
Yeah.
And she goes off to Florida. So she gets to Florida, and she right away meets the other girls
also got
her competition.
Yep, got called in for NXT.
Yep.
So now this is okay. So I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with this because I feel like there's two. So they make sure to point this out too and make this comment multiple times. The other girls, like there's 3 girls specifically that they kind of set up as Paige's direct competition in this movie, and they are the supermodel bikini clad hot girls.
Yep.
And they throw that in your face to the point where they're making the comments about how Paige is the real wrestler, and aside from Paige, WWE only hires supermodels usually for their girls. So, like, okay, it feels like WWE almost like admitting that that's what they used to do and admitting they were wrong for doing that. Right. Except that when Paige was brought in, that is not what she was brought in with. Yeah. Like we even talked about this after the movie then, but when she came into NXT and was down there training in NXT, she was training alongside girls like Charlotte and Sasha Banks and girls like that.
Right.
And they just totally pretended like that's not what was going on at all here.
Yep.
And I don't really understand, like, I don't know. I don't know why they did that.
So there's notoriously Johnny Ace, when he was in charge of talent relations, he would flip open model. Now the story goes he would flip open like Victoria's Secret's catalog and stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
and look for that's how the story goes.
Oh,
and he'd find the hot girls and call the hottest girls and call their agents.
Yeah.
And see which ones were interested. I'm sure we know that he was hiring models that way. I doubt he just hired, I'm sure he had portfolios, is what I'm saying. I'm sure it was far more professional than just, I got the Sears catalog and the, Victoria's Secret's catalog, and somebody sent me the, Deb catalog. I don't know what the store, you know what I mean? But I'm sure he had actual portfolios and looked for real models that wanted to come in and wrestle. We know he did that.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, that is not what Paige came in.
They were
on.
already moving away from that at this point.
Yeah,
they were already in taking a new course at this point.
They had girls like AJ Lee.
I was going to say
roster.
AJ was on the main roster, already driving that new direction.
Yeah, there was a clear difference. She was on TV saying that stuff.
Yes.
Calling out the Bellas for just being models.
Yes.
Calling out all the divas that weren't real wrestlers.
Right.
And they had a whole crop in NXT of girls that were these real wrestlers that were Bayley and Sasha and Emma and Charlotte that we talked about. And I feel like there's others that we're missing, but it's probably I'm just thinking of Paige because they bring Paige in and then I'm gonna get angry. The scene. So okay. Even if we can work with the narrative of they hire all these models, and Paige is the only real wrestler. Okay. Then they try to make it look like she was the only one who couldn't do anything.
Right. That's
all she could do is wrestle. Okay. Particularly the one scene they did where they had like the Diva promo challenge. And Paige kind of gets owned by these model girls. Okay, the models like cut these really great promos and like run her down, and then when she gets the mic, she totally freezes.
Right.
And that made me so mad because even outside of being an actual wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember watching during the time when they had all those models and they were bringing all those models up and they would do stuff like, because the models couldn't wrestle, so they do stuff like the Diva Search Challenge.
Right.
And they do like these weird promo challenges and these weird talent shows and all this stuff. And every time it was these models who would get on and stutter and stammer and have no stage presence, no mic presence.
Exactly.
And then the less modelly wrestlers that they would intermingle a little bit to get eliminated right away to be like, well, we tried.
Right.
You know, they would own that. You know, they were the ones who would get in there and would have the stage presence, and because they've done it.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like the models only ever stood in front of a video, like a camera taking still pictures.
Right.
And the wrestlers are taking real promos and doing real stuff and doing what this is supposed to be. Like it's the complete opposite. So when you try and sell me that as, Paige was this insecure little waif that froze every time she got in the ring, that is not how that would work.
Right, totally. Also, how like stereotypical wrestler promo were those promos that those chicks were cutting too? Like it was seriously just the worst kind of like when you imagine somebody who's not a wrestling fan doing their imitation of a wrestling promo.
Yep.
That's the type of promos these girls were cutting that were owning Paige supposedly.
Right. Yep.
It was pretty ridiculous.
Yep. Well, and then they let Vince Vaughn call her out as the one doing like a cookie cutter promo, like when they had promo class.
Yeah.
And she actually cut a promo, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was great." In 1979, the first time I heard it, I was like, "That's not that what."
What about all these other girls that were doing the exact same thing the night before? It's your like a little promo off or whatever it was you did. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
So bad.
So there. Okay, so we also have to bring up like what NXT looks like in this movie. NXT does not look like what NXT actually is or is now. You know,
or even was then.
The WWE Performance Center is like a real training center where all of these guys are training, and that's where everybody from NXT, which is like an amazing wrestling promotion on its own now.
Yes.
like everybody's training at this WWE Performance Center. In the movie, they treat this like every one of those stupid Tough Enough segments you ever saw on WWE TV.
Yep.
When you would see them do weird challenges for the Diva Search or Tough Enough on SmackDown.
Right.
That's what they made the Performance Center look like in this movie.
Right.
And it was totally absurd.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Totally absurd.
Yeah. Well, they even had like Vince Vaughn like firing people in super weird ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is not the way that goes.
Yeah,
like,
if I shake your hand, you're out of here.
yeah,
Or whatever it was.
Yeah, at the end of every day or every week, like he'd line them up and walk down and fire a couple of them in front of everybody else.
Like voting them off the island.
Right.
That's not how a WWE contract works,
yeah,
man.
that is not how.
That's not how a developmental deal works.
Exactly. Anybody at the PCC, the Performance Center, is there under contract. They are not there,
to be eliminated.
It's not a game show. It's not like a real life game show.
Game show. Yeah, exactly.
It's so and okay. So here's the thing, and so this is where somebody's gonna say, well, yeah, but people don't know that. Except they do. The WWE has done. There's a show you can get on the network and watch the show called Breaking Ground, where they actually like it's the real life documentary of what it's like there, and like they fire a couple people during the course of the show, and they don't have like a tryout where they fire them in front of everybody.
Right.
Like they wait until their contract is up, and they bring them into an office in a private setting with the talent relations agent, and the talent relations agent says, I'm sorry, we're not going to be renewing your contract. And then they leave. They don't like get lined up and publicly humiliated and fired in front of everybody. They don't even really get fired. They just don't get their contract renewed.
Right. Yeah. Totally ridiculous.
So that's out there, and to look at, if you want to call us nitpicking because we know that and nobody else would know that, the mainstream people who don't know that aren't going to see this movie either.
I feel like that's true.
Right.
Like wrestling fans are going to go see this
movie. This movie is for wrestling fans.
Yeah. Super weird.
And maybe not. And if you think this movie is not for wrestling fans,
right?
Then I don't know who this movie is for.
Look,
because this is just,
if you want a better portrayal of the industry, a different angle of it, you should go watch The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, because that's about as true to it as you're going to see in a movie. It's a different side of it, but still, like, if that's what you're looking for, that's the movie you want to watch. It's a better movie.
yeah.
Okay, so while we're in our NXT Tough Enough Diva Search situation, man, one of the parts that really irritated me is she's in the ring working some spots, right? They're working spot drills, the girls are. And they're doing like go-behinds and different spots. So they do this situation where like one of the model girls keeps elbowing Paige in the face, right? Like accidentally elbowing her while she's trying to get the moves. And Paige is getting like mad at her and frustrated with her.
Yep.
Like going as far as saying things like, we don't really hit each other in wrestling, right?
Right.
And first of all, you guys had a whole scene earlier where you like got mad at somebody for calling wrestling fake, and now you're yelling at somebody for accidentally, like, you're gonna get roughed up sometimes in wrestling. That is not how, like,
and every wrestler knows that,
and that is not how you would deal with that. You wouldn't be like getting all smarmy with them, and being, you know what I mean? So it happens like twice.
Yeah, especially not the real. Sorry, go ahead.
No, okay, so
it
like
happens twice.
It happens twice. The first time she gets mad and kind of snotty with her. Oh, wrestling's fake. Don't hit me for real. And then they try the spot again, and like she accidentally hits her in the face again. So Paige like just hauls off and slugs her across the face.
Yeah.
Like just gives it to her. and they're all like she's obviously mad because she gets slapped in the face.
Right.
And Paige's reaction was, well, it's just a receipt. Why are you mad? It's just a receipt.
Yeah.
To which I'm like, all right, look.
There's so much wrong with that scene.
So there's so much wrong with it. Okay, this is where they're trying to be cute and throw out some insider terminology.
Right.
Oh, we know insider terms. Receipt. Ha ha. Except they're using it completely wrong. Completely wrong. Okay, if you get accidentally bumped in a training thing, you don't just turn around and haul off and slug somebody across the face and then be like, oh, that's just how it is. That's a receipt.
That's not a receipt.
That is not a proper receipt. I mean, receipts typically happen like if you're in the heat of the moment, in the middle of a match, and you've got a dude pounding on you, and he gives you a couple of real stiff shots. You might give him a stiff shot back to kind of give him the nudge, saying, "Okay, let's calm down a little bit."
Yep.
That's a receipt. You don't just really like haul off and slug somebody in the face like in the middle of training, and then be like, "Why are you mad at me, bro?"
Yeah, that's a receipt. A receipt is covered.
Yes.
In the moment. So if you get a stiff shot,
yes,
and then you give a stiff shot,
yes.
The next, okay. If you're working a spot.
Yes.
And somebody throws a punch and it catches you, or they're just a little snug or whatever, right? And then the next time it's your time to throw a punch,
yes,
and you throw it a little snug or hit them a little hard, that is also a receipt.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And
never is it where it's just like, oh, I got hit in the face. Now I get, and then you
now
just stop and hit you in the face.
Now
right?
I get to stop and
that
slap you across the
works.
face. No, it's not. It's not. And then I also hated it too because then Vince Vaughn's like, we don't do receipts here.
Yeah.
We don't do receipts, and it's like, bro, we all watch WWE.
Right.
We see receipts happen sometimes.
Yeah. For sure.
The boys know.
The boys
know how this works.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I just had a real problem with that scene.
Yeah, and that's that's also not a thing like you wouldn't call out a receipt. It's not like you know.
Yes.
It's not like you're like okay, you hit me for real. Here comes your receipt. Right? Like that's not how that goes.
Yes, exactly.
A receipt is something. Sometimes you get a receipt and you're not even sure like. Is that a receipt? You know?
Why'd I get hit like that?
Yeah, and then maybe you come backstage and you're like, "Hey, bro,
why'd you hit me like that?"
Yeah, or you receipt the receipt.
Yeah. Wrestling's a weird business.
Wrestling is a weird business, but it's all part of it.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing, because that whole scene is predicated on not how things work, because it's never. The real wrestler, like the real wrestler does not get elbowed in the face and get mad at the rookie for elbowing them in the face.
Right.
If anything, the rookie puts themselves out of position and gets accidentally elbowed by the real wrestler, who is throwing to the right position.
Right.
And then the real the fake wrestler is the one that gets mad and is going, or not the fake wrestler, the inexperienced wrestler.
Yeah, the rookie
is the one going, oh, you're hitting me. Why are you hitting me?
Yes.
Wrestling's supposed to be fake. Why are you?
Well, it's just like with the promos. It's like they
flipped everything to try and create conflict for Paige.
Yes, exactly. I don't know, man. Like, this is all supposed to be based on a true story. It is super revisionist history, as we're gonna get to. I just wonder how Paige even like watched this movie back and went, "Yep, that's perfect." That's exactly how it went.
I wonder how The Rock watched it and went, "That's how I remember it."
That's how I remember breaking into the business.
Yep, that's just what it was like for me.
So weird, man.
I don't know who I don't know who read this script and went, "Yep, sounds good.
Vince.
Let's go." Vince didn't read this script, man.
All right. So this is about the time though where like things are really starting to break down, right? Because like she's getting real paranoid. She thinks the girls are always talking behind her back.
Yep.
She like calls them out on it and finds out that they weren't, and now she's the jerk for calling them out because really they were having some sort of family issues or something. And this is what really sent her on like this whole like rock bottom moment where she's like, "I'm going home and I'm not coming back."
Yeah.
And this is where we get the Vince Vaughn heart.
Yeah, so this is where the Vince Vaughn heart to heart, which makes me so mad, so super mad, because Vince Vaughn gives her the heart to heart, and he's like, "Let me," because first of all, she's all distraught and sitting there talking to Vince Vaughn, and she's like, "Oh, you should have taken my brother. I don't know if I'm meant to be here. Why didn't you take my brother?" type stuff. And he's like, "Let me tell you what would have happened to your brother. Your brother does not have it. Your brother would have come in. And he would have been the guy trying to find it and going to greater and greater lengths until one day he lets somebody throw him off the top of a 36-foot steel cage, and he breaks his collarbone, and then he can't wrestle anymore, and then his kids won't talk to him because he becomes such a basket case, and I just didn't want that for your brother."
Again, not how this works.
Not how this works in the WWE.
They don't look at a guy and go, "This is the kid that's going to fall off of a cage and break his arm, and I need to prevent that."
Right.
One day. Like, what? Huh?
Yeah, that is not...
Oh my goodness.
It's just so not the way that it's so not the mentality in the WWE, and not the way their business works. And you can't take somebody and decide whether or not they have it.
Right.
Sometimes you can look at somebody and go, that dude don't got it.
Right. Yes. you can look at it sometimes.
Yeah. But also the WWE does not just hire the guys who have it.
Right. You have to. I mean, like, that's got to just kind of happen.
Right.
Like, you don't just like look at a guy and know that he has it.
Right.
Like,
and they've had too many guys who didn't have it.
Right.
I mean, all due respect to John Cena, he did not have it when they hired him. He did not have it all the way through developmental. He did not have it until, like he started to have it when he did a one-off joke in at a Christmas party, or no, it was a Halloween party, because he came dressed as Vanilla Ice. And they let him do a rap, and then that became his thing, and then he found, but like he was just a well-built, blonde, handsome dude.
Yeah.
Up until that point.
Yeah.
Like totally. This movie, so this movie ignored John Cena.
Okay.
So this movie didn't hire John Cena.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want him to get thrown off a 6-foot steel cage, or 36 foot, and it was something like that too. Like I keep saying that because I can't remember what the actual number was.
It was like,
but I remember thinking,
ridiculously high cage.
It was a cage that did not exist.
Oh my god!
But they presented it, and they did not present it like Vince Vaughn was exaggerating. They presented it like Vince Vaughn was 100. This was like during the Heart to Heart where he was having his come to Jesus meeting with Paige, and he was 100% serious about this 36-foot steel cage that somebody had thrown him off and wrecked his shoulder at. Not good.
Right.
So she goes home.
And some stuff happens.
No, we got to talk about the stuff.
Okay.
Because the stuff was so bad.
All right, let's talk about the stuff.
The stuff was that match.
Oh, the match! I almost
with
forgot
her brother.
About the match. Okay, yeah.
So she goes home and her parents are like, her parents have been advertising WWE superstar Paige returning.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, she has not been on WWE TV.
Nobody
apparently NXT in this world is not a promotion.
Right.
So nobody knows that. So they're just randomly slapping WWE superstar on her name to advertise her. So I mean, theoretically, they could have just done that with anybody.
Right.
Now, not that indie wrestlers are above doing that.
I was going to say, this sounds like something an indie show would do.
Yeah. But they promote randomly her versus her brother, who her brother is always presented as like
the big baby face.
Yeah, the big good guy in the company. So like, why is the big good guy fighting his sister? And just because they wanted to get to this the worst scene in the movie. Yeah.
So okay. So this is the part in the movie where they suddenly kind of decide that wrestling's real.
Yeah.
They've been presenting it as what it
fake
is.
And training and yes.
The whole way through.
Gaga.
But we got to this point and all of a sudden, wrestling's real.
Because she gets in there with her brother and he shoots her into the corner.
Yeah.
All super hard.
Yeah.
And she hits the corner and she's like, what's happening?
Yeah, she looks at her dad and yells.
Yeah, because mom and dad are at ringside.
Yeah.
Mom and dad are at ringside.
And she yells, Daddy, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because she got thrown into the corner real hard.
Yeah, because he did it for real.
He did a real Irish whip, guys. Right. A real one. The most believable move in pro wrestling. He did it for real.
So she hits the corner and she's like, what are you doing? And then he picks her up. He picks her up for a body slam.
Yeah.
And dad starts going, what are you doing? Ref, get in there. What are you doing? And not like he's part of like he's worried for his daughter.
Yeah.
So the brother picks her up and body slams her. And the whole family's like freaking out at ringside. Yeah. What's he doing? Oh my gosh. As if they wouldn't have like it's real, like all of a sudden it's real.
Yeah.
Even if he body slammed her without that being part of the plan or whatever, right? That is not, at no point would that be the reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, especially since the match just started. Irish whip into the corner, body slam. That seems like a match to me.
Yeah.
Why are we freaking out right now?
Right.
And then he beat her, right? Wasn't that just it?
Did he pile drive? He pile drove her.
He gave her a tombstone.
Yeah, he gave her the tombstone.
He totally gave her a tombstone. Picked her up for a tombstone.
Yeah, and pinned her, and while Nick Frost is on the outside having to act, oh, what are you doing? Stop it! Stop! Oh no! Like the mom and dad are like pleading for the brother to show their sister mercy, and it's not like part of the show. The idea is that he has gone off script.
Yes.
And all of a sudden he's beating up his sister for real.
Right.
And
he's so jealous of her success, and it's where his life has turned.
Well. He's jealous that she's ready to quit now.
Yeah, because she wants to quit. She tells him
before the match.
Yeah, that she's going to come home.
She's done. And she's given up. So he loses it and beats her up for real in this match. beats her up without throwing a single punch or kick or any of the stuff you would do in a wrestling match if you were really trying to beat somebody up off script. You're not doing wrestling moves. That's just not how that works. So now this movie has shifted to now it's all real.
Which gets worse later. It gets worse later. So then we have the big family blow up after the match, and he basically they're like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Oh, why don't you tell him, Paige? Oh, she's quitting. She's coming home." And so then they get mad at Paige. Everybody gets mad at Paige, and blah 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 blah. And anyway,
and then the next scene, Dad comes back and he's like, "Oh look." So they just resolve it immediately.
They do. It didn't. This was not a very long scene because before we know it, she's coming back over and she's ready to give it a real shot this time at NXT.
She's got her head right.
She's gonna do it for real this time. So she comes back to NXT and Vince Vaughn kind of reluctantly lets her come back in, right? Because he's like, I told you to go home. Yeah. And she's just like, I'm here to train.
Yep. You didn't fire me. I didn't quit.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now we get so now they do the speed up montage stuff, right? So now she's getting along with everybody and they're figuring it all out and they're learning how to wrestle good.
She's teaching them wrestling and they're teaching her
promos and stuff. So they throughout the whole thing, they're doing the one spot that they're trying to get that they can't get is stupid. It's a double dive where like two of the girls do a dive through the ropes onto the outside onto the other two girls.
Onto the other two.
And they're not getting it, and they're not getting it, and Vince Vaughn's like, just throw it out, don't even worry about it.
You're never gonna get it.
Yeah, so they're doing that, right? And then they end this whole montage with them having a match in front of a crowd at I guess this is NXT. I don't know.
NXT is just random practice shows.
Yeah, it doesn't look like NXT to me. It looks like some tiny little house,
in a bar,
indie show in a bar.
Yeah,
they're at an indie show in a bar, and these four girls are having that match that they were practicing, and they get to the dive part, and they do that movie thing where they look at each other and they give each other the nod, and they run out.
It's in slow motion.
And they nail the dive, and they did it, and all four girls are laying outside of the ring, and they're laughing, and they're high-fiving each other
man.
in the middle of a wrestling match.
In front of the crowd, like there's crowd inches away from them when they're supposedly having this moment. We nailed it. We did it.
It was unbelievable. I was just like, you have got to be kidding. But here's where it gets even worse.
This is where it comes.
This is where it really, really just was like, I was done.
Yeah.
Paige gets called, they all get told they're coming to WrestleMania.
Yep.
WrestleMania weekend.
Right.
And so they're going to WrestleMania, and as they're coming in, Paige gets pulled aside, and they're like, hey, you need to come up to the box with us. So they take Paige up.
She took a bunch of hot dogs from catering.
Yeah, she takes a bunch. Oh, yeah, because this is where we get to see a bunch of cameos from random wrestlers, like Big Show's in there, and a couple of other guys. This is where they all get their cameos.
Yep, Sheamus and Cesaro. And they're at the catering station, which is just 3 sterno platters.
Well, I love it was piles of burgers and hot dogs too. That's all the wrestlers are eating: piles of burgers and hot dogs.
Yep, and she comes up and takes 4 hot dogs.
Yeah,
and Sheamus is like, "Are you gonna leave any for the rest of us?"
Yeah, yeah.
She took 4 hot dogs, bro.
She took 4 hot dogs
off a pile. There's a pile of it's not like she took the last 4.
Yeah,
there's a pile of hot dogs coming out of this chafing dish, and she comes up and takes 4 off the top, and he's like, can you believe she did that?
Right.
Are you going to leave any for the rest of us? Bro.
Right.
Bro.
So they sent Paige up to this box and tell her to wait there, one of the sky boxes.
Yeah.
And she's sitting up there and she's watching WrestleMania from the sky box all by herself. And all of a sudden, The Rock walks in. and he's all I don't know, it's so dumb. Like he's like, let's call your family right now. And so like he just calls her family from her phone to tell her family that she's debuting on Raw tomorrow night.
Right. As somebody who comes from a wrestling family, I knew how I wanted to tell your whole wrestling family. Like, shut up, Rock. That's not how this happened.
So this is definitely not how this happened. So now we have completely skipped over the existence of NXT as a brand.
Yep.
We've completely skipped over the fact that Paige was on that brand for quite a while and that people knew who she was and became fans of her on that brand.
Yep.
We're just skipping over all that, and instead The Rock discovered her and decided that she's going to go ahead and be called up.
She had, the night before, become the first ever NXT Women's Champion. They didn't do a cute dive spot.
Right.
She was becoming the first ever NXT Women's Champion.
Right.
The night before that WrestleMania.
Right.
At the
it's so ridiculous. They just totally ignore it. So then we get to the next night on Raw, which is like her debut. And now, this is where I feel like if any of you are wrestling fans, if any of you have been watching this and you know how this happened, I don't know how any of you can watch this right here and go, yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, that's how it goes.
I remember that.
So first of all, they've got Zelina Vega playing AJ Lee, which I want to point this out because I just saw it a second ago, and I wish I wouldn't have closed it, but I'm going to pull it back up here.
Okay.
I just noticed that her credits here.
Yeah.
She's listed as playing April AJ Lee Mendez. She's actually playing like legit. The legit they're not like she's not just AJ. She's April Mendez.
Right. Wow.
Movie. I thought that was ridiculous.
That is
So Zelina Vega, who's an active wrestler right now on the roster, is playing AJ in this movie. Kind of. They call her AJ Lee. She doesn't like. She's wearing like a robe and looking like AJ never dressed like this before. And like they have her come out and cut this like promo that she totally didn't actually like she did cut a promo that night, but it wasn't like this.
Right.
And so they do the whole scene, which was supposed to be Paige's appearance on Raw. Paige comes out to confront AJ in the ring to a chorus of silence because nobody knows who the heck she is, which is
brand new.
Biggest inaccuracy, first of all, because when her music hit, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
That was she was like one of the first NXT stars to show up on the main roster.
Yes.
That was a huge deal.
Yes.
They are just pretending like that did not happen at all.
Yep.
She comes out, she gets in the ring, she chokes. She doesn't say anything on the mic. The crowd starts heckling her.
Yep.
Totally ridiculous, right? Then all of a sudden, like she gets her footing and she cuts a promo back and triumphant, she did it. Now they're gonna have this match, and then they proceed to have this match, which was completely different than the real match. Because again, if we remember how this went, this was a super fast match where there was a little bit of scuffling, and then Paige hit her finish, and it was a surprise 1, 2, 3, and she won that belt.
Yep.
And it was like it was night after WrestleMania, so the crowd was crazy hot that night, and this was like a big surprise, and it was our first bone thrown at anybody from NXT. Like they ignored how impactful her real debut was.
Completely.
And it drives me crazy. Because instead they make up this entirely different scenario where Paige and AJ go in there and they have a real wrestling match.
They're having like this real fight.
They're really fighting. They're doing the thing again where they're pretending like wrestling's real.
Right.
Oh my God. And it's like this long, drawn out, like ridiculous fight where like both of them look like they're actually trying to fight each other, but they're doing wrestling moves to each other.
And so the thing that makes me the maddest about this, I'm sure we're going to have to go through the cycle on things that are upsetting about this scene a couple times. The first thing I want to talk about that really made me angry is like they keep cutting back and forth to like her family watching this happen. Nick Frost and mom, who we just have not mentioned at all, is Lena Headey. Who did great.
She was awesome too. Yeah,
she was great. As I don't know how to spell her name, Saraya Knight. Saraya Knight.
Yeah.
She was great. And Brother Zach, and then this like collection of neighborhood scamps and hoodlums that they teach to
teach to wrestle.
They teach to wrestle, which we totally just skipped over how just cliche and stupid that all is. But we'll come back to that. So
do we need to?
No, I think I said all of it. So another little subplot is like in the middle of all this family drama and everything else. Zach's brother Zach has like his own little version of wrestling Moneyball going on. So
yeah.
Or no, what was that? Knuckleball.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
What do you?
The movie with the movie with Keanu Reeves where he like coaches the group of little ghetto kids. It wasn't. Oh well.
Yeah, well.
Oh well. That one's gone.
Moving on.
Moving on. Anyway, so they're watching all this and like they're getting all worried because it's a real wrestling match, you know, and you see Nick Frost like watching it being like, "Come on, get up, get up." That is not how wrestlers watch wrestling.
Right.
Okay, like that is just not how we sit there and like even if it's somebody I know watching wrestling, I'm not sitting there like, oh, get up, what's gonna happen? Oh my gosh, like that is just not how real wrestlers watch wrestling. I was so mad, so incredibly angry about that.
Yep. So she wins, just like in real life.
Wins.
She's the champion now. They really push that she's the youngest champion in history and whatever. Like we've got some like brand new like Michael Cole commentary over this whole thing and everything. It's just bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like that's basically it too, right? Like that's
she cuts that terrible promo.
Oh, she cuts a promo afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, and she does the "It's my house" thing, which that didn't become her catchphrase until probably years later,
right,
when she was a heel.
Right.
Like that's, oh my god. Like there's just so much about
and
it.
She's just so.
It's my house now.
So even if we
remember when she did her pose as a little kid in the movie, when she did like the hair whip thing, and I was like, yep, I bet that's how it really happened. I bet that's where she learned her pose.
Like, yeah, they show her doing it in the living room as a little girl. Then they show her doing it in the ring as a young, inexperienced wrestler, as a trainee.
Yeah.
Then they show her, so bad.
Oh, boy.
So after she wins the match, so even what I was going to say, even if we overlook all this stuff where she's like insecure and, you know, can't quite cut it in the indie, you know what I mean, or not in the indies, but can't quite cut it with the NXT girls. Even if we like overlook all that stuff, when Paige showed up on Monday Night Raw, she was a developed, confident wrestler,
yes,
and she came out and owned it.
Yes,
and they still depicted her debut night as like she froze before her match, and then afterwards when she grabbed the mic, she did this like super insecure, I know some of you don't think I look like a wrestler, but I'm here and I'm just me, and I just want everybody else to know that they are just fine. Like, you know, this, and that's not what she did.
No.
Like, that is not what she did at all.
I know. Well, here's the deal. You can go turn on the WWE Network right now and watch how this actually happened. Yes. Did they realize that when they made this movie? Like, did they realize we gotta go watch the real story? Like, on the network?
Like, shot for shot, you can go see her at NXT. You can go see her old matches at NXT and at Florida Championship Wrestling. Like, what?
It's great, yeah. Yep. That's wrestling with my family.
So mad.
That's it. And man,
I'm offended that wrestlers. I'm offended that I've been pretty diehard blind support for anything The Rock has done because I'm a huge Rock fan. Mark. Stark raving Mark for The Rock.
Yeah.
And I'm mad at him for doing this movie. I'm offended that he would make this movie.
Oh my gosh. I'm just like, we were at this screening with a lot of obvious wrestling fans because everybody in that theater were wearing Bullet Club shirts and like dressed like that. And that movie ended and the whole theater started applauding and I was baffled. I was like, how guys?
Dude, it's got an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know, that's what I mean. We are probably going to sound like the super nitpicky guys to most of the people, even that are listening to this show. Like, a lot of people are probably going to watch this and they're probably going to like it. I can't like it. There's too much about it that just I know is wrong, and I can't even overlook and like go, okay, well it's a movie for the mainstream audience. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me.
So I wanted to bring that up because I feel like even if you take it at like pure mainstream appeal. Like, we are just making this movie for the non-wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It's just like a bog standard, sports movie. Rise through stardom movie.
Yes, it absolutely is.
There's nothing outside of that. Not to say that anybody did bad in the movie. All the actors are fairly competent. There is nothing that sets it apart. The scenes like Nick Frost is funny. He ain't that funny.
Right.
The girl who plays Paige is fine. She ain't that good. The scenes with The Rock. The Rock is great playing The Rock.
He's just being The Rock, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's 2 of those scenes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we get him twice. We get him in the
There's
one scene.
2 of those scenes.
The one scene everybody saw in the trailer, and then the skybox scene.
The trailer makes it look like it's, the Paige story starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
It ain't that movie. It ain't that movie, bro.
Yeah. It's total revisionist history. It's just totally like a cliched look at what people probably think the wrestling industry is and how it works, but is nowhere. Like, it's just not. I don't even know if that's what people think it looks like. I mean, really? Or do you think people are going to watch this and go, "That's how they do it"?
Yeah,
because I'm kind of worried about that. I don't want people watching this and being like, "This is how it's done." Like,
hey, I just hope I get a whole crop of wrestling trainees that now come through and just stop and hit each other when they think they're giving.
It's a receipt.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna let that go. Hey, good receipt on that one.
Good receipt. We do receipts here.
Yeah, we do receipts here.
Oh my goodness.
Bad.
All right. Wrestling with my family. Well, thank you to WWE for letting us come and screen your movie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're glad. Any publicity is good publicity.
Yep, any publicity is good publicity. I mean, you guys will give it a watch, I'm sure. And
yep.
I'm always open to hear what you guys think of it, even if you completely disagree with us.
I'm always open to argue with you if you think if you're one of the 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There you go. Do you think we gave this movie the worst review that exists?
I hope so.
We were pretty harsh. So. We're pretty harsh on it.
That's because it's bad, man.
I didn't enjoy it. That's the thing. I sat there the whole time just. That's not right. That's not how it happened. I couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
I know this is based on a true story, and I know that anytime a movie is based on a true story, it's loosely based on a true story. Like, they take elements of a story and then they make a movie with it where they have to create stuff to make it flow in a movie. But
it was
this, I don't know.
It was like a cartoon. It was like a parody.
Yes, this all happened so recently, and any wrestling fan that's an actual wrestling fan knows this story and watched it unfold, and it's just crazy to me that people would watch this and go, yeah, that's exactly how I remember it. Yep. Or, yeah, they got it close enough. Because they didn't.
Right.
It's not even close enough.
And the stuff that is so ridiculous, there's such a big chunk of the movie that is her at NXT at training.
Yeah.
Where it's just like an extended. It's like they watched Tough Enough. Which is the WWE game show. Well, it started as the WWE reality show.
Yeah.
And then became the WWE game show where you compete for your contract. It's like they just watched that stuff and made that like it was the day-to-day at the training center.
Yeah.
And that's just not how it is. It's not how it is, and it's not realistic, and it's not... It'd be like... It'd be like if you watched a baseball movie... about a young baseball player coming up, and they get to training, and the whole thing is like, the combine. That's the NFL, right? Sorry, I'm not really a sports guy. So if we watch the movie about about a young football player coming up, and he gets signed, he gets hired on to a team, but then training is just every day like the combine.
Yeah.
Like the NFL combine. It's not like that, guys. That's not how it goes.
All right. There's wrestling with my family.
7 thumbs straight down.
Whoa, 7 of them.
I don't even have some. I'm going to sprout.
Extra thumbs?
5 extra
5 extra thumbs.
Did you see me count there?
I did. How many do I have? 2. Okay, 5 more. All right. Well, before we wrap things up today, we actually have a couple of really good fan questions from our viewers. If you guys ever have questions that you want to ask us, we do always kind of pick a few of them out to answer here on the show, and you can do that over on our Facebook page. Just do a search for the Geek Easy Podcast, and usually I try to put up a post day or two before we record, so that way you guys can gather up all your questions and we can pick a couple good ones. And while Jonathan's not here tonight, he did send answers for the fan questions, so we're going to read his answers here too. So our first question today comes from Andrew Cooper, who says, you guys never really talk about video games. Any new ones that you guys are playing, and what are your all-time favorite games? So should we start with John's answers?
Let's start with John's answers.
Okay, so John says, and I quote, I'm sort of playing that Spider-Man game and Red Dead Redemption 2. They're both great. But my all-time favorite, always hard to say, but I'll go with the Uncharted series. They were like playing original Indiana Jones-style adventures in video game form, right up my alley. And I think those are good choices. I love the Uncharted. Did you play the Uncharted games?
I played the first Uncharted
game. I played 1 and 2. I played 1 and 2, and I did really like those games. I knew that he liked those a lot.
Yep.
So what about, are you playing anything currently?
So it's funny because we were just kind of talking about this.
I think we had this conversation on our way to see wrestling with my family.
I think so.
Actually, yeah.
I think so. And you know, I echo that. I feel like we should talk more about video games, and I'm like, I need to play more video games.
Yeah.
I just struggle to find the time.
It's tough to find the time.
And when I do play video games, I play PS3 Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I'm playing right now. All I have is a PS3. I don't have a PS4, Xbox, anything like that.
Okay.
And I've been working through the back catalog of PS3 games, and I got stuck on Skyrim. And now every time it's like, I have several other games I'd like to play, but every time I am like, I need to play a video game, I'm gonna play more Skyrim.
Nice.
My favorite game, though. I love the Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite, like, classic game.
Yep.
My favorite, like, modern game that I've played is Infamous.
Infamous.
I love.
I played the first
games.
Infamous. I never played the second one.
I played those were ones I made time for. Like, I played straight through one. And then I played straight through the second one.
Yeah,
I was like, these games are amazing.
Awesome.
And part of the reason why I did not get super into the Uncharted series is because I played the first Uncharted between Infamous 1 and 2, and I was just like,
I want to play more Infamous.
Yeah, basically. I made myself finish that first game, but then I was like, nope, I don't need any more of this.
Awesome. I've been playing Spider-Man on PS4 like nonstop. I just 100% completed the campaign. I've unlocked all the suits. I have a couple gadgets I'm still trying to unlock because the challenge missions are annoying. But then I'm going to start doing the download stuff too because I freaking love that game.
Yeah.
Like, that is like... It's like the game I've always wanted because Spider-Man's like my favorite hero. And like, I love the Batman Arkham games a lot. Yeah. And I know I've touted those a whole bunch to you. I love the Arkham games. This is essentially like the Spider-Man version of the Arkham games, but like with Spider-Man's mechanics instead of Batman's. And it's just like, it is perfect. It is so perfect. I love it. Aside from Spider-Man, I've also been playing a whole bunch of Smash Brothers Ultimate on Switch, partially because my 5-year-old is really into that game, so he always wants to play with me, and I'm never going to tell him no when he's like, let's play video games.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, kid. So I'm playing a lot of those two games. If we're talking about all-time favorites, I also am a big retro game fan, and I still actively buy retro video games all the time. But my favorites are definitely between Mega Man 2 on the NES and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. Because both of those games are games that I can sit down and play all the way through and always enjoy them. Yeah. And I play both of them regularly, and like, I can... Mega Man 2 especially, it's like, you almost don't have to put any thought into it, because I play it so much, but I love it every time I play it. I just love it. And I love all the Mega Man games on the Nintendo, so those are definitely my favorite franchises. Loved Breath of the Wild too on the Switch, the modern Zelda game. Super good. All right. The next question comes from John Shiro, who says, this may have been asked and answered in a previous episode, but I was wondering, which wrestling championship belts are your favorite? Personally, I think nothing beats the big gold belt.
Which would be...
The WCW one?
WCW belt,
yeah. That's what I was thinking, too.
WCW World Championship belt.
John goes on to say, the $1 million belt, hands down. It needs to be a sanctioned championship that probably the U.S. championship. Needs to be a sanctioned championship, then probably the U.S. championship with the flag on it. I think he wants that instead of the. Oh no, the U.S. championship with the flag on it is his second favorite.
Okay,
that's what I think he's trying to say. So $1 million belt, then the U.S. championship. Gotcha. That was the flag one. Yep. Not the spinner one though.
Not the spinner one.
So for me, I think my favorite is the rounder winged eagle belt from that was big in the Attitude Era. Okay. I think that's my favorite championship.
I was thinking of that as Triple H's championship.
Triple H's belt? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that Austin and Rock and all them had too, right?
It is the one Austin and Rock had.
Yeah.
Austin had it for less than 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then because like he got the smoking skull belt.
He got the smoking skull belt. Yeah.
And it became all about that. The Rock, it was definitely the Rock's belt. But even the Rock also had the Rock just played back and forth with it so much.
Yeah, totally.
The Rock never really held that belt.
Okay.
So that's why
Triple H.
That is Triple H's
like
belt.
I do. I've always liked the look of that belt, though.
It's a good belt. It's a good belt. I really like the classic Intercontinental belt.
Ooh, okay. Is it the white strap one? I was going to bring that up too. I really like the white strapped IC belt. I always liked too.
That was a good one. I think a lot. I always remember the when it had the yellow strap.
The yellow strap.
Was when the Warrior had it.
Yeah.
Although the strap color doesn't stand out to me as a defining feature.
Okay.
The shape of the plate is what I look at. And I always thought that was the coolest looking plate.
Okay, that's cool.
The classic winged eagle belt has grown on me a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite.
That was a good question. I don't think that's ever come up before. Nope. Also, I do love to. We mentioned, I think the last time we recorded, I felt like all the questions were Netflix questions.
Yep.
This time we had a ton of wrestling questions. It was pretty cool. All right,
we've been doing a lot of wrestling lately.
We've been doing a lot of wrestling lately. The last question today comes from Kerouac, who says favorite all-time movie, and don't go with the so hard to choose answer. Gun to your head, pick one. So John's answer says, it's an impossible question, but gun to my head, my go-to answer is always Clue the movie. Sounds like a John answer.
Sounds like a John answer.
I know he loves that movie. Okay, so my go-to is always Empire Strikes Back, followed by Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's hard to separate the Star Wars original trilogy because when you're I want to watch all three of them. But if you're going to make me pick one, I definitely enjoy Empire the most, but it's very, very, very closely followed by Return of the Jedi. Those are my favorite two of that batch. Yeah. Those are my favorite two of all Star Wars movies, easy. I love those films. And they're just easy for me to go to.
Oh, man.
It's such a hard question.
It's such a hard one.
There's so many genres and so many... I like Clerks 2 a whole bunch. That's a super random movie, but man, I can always put that movie in and always laugh at it. Always.
Yep. So I don't like to do gun to my head.
Okay.
When I'm thinking about this and having to make myself try and pick one, I like to do Stranded on a Desert Island.
Oh, and what would you
if
like
I'm
to have
stranded on a desert island, what movie am I going to be able to watch over and over again? And I really have a hard time not picking The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. Oh, nice.
I love that movie.
Nice.
So incredibly much.
Nice.
But I think I would have to go with the first Terminator because that's.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
My movie, man.
That sounds
right. Is gun to my head. Stranded on a desert island. I think I want Terminator. Yep.
Awesome. Well, that was a really good, fun batch of questions. Some new stuff this time. I really liked that. So, guys, if we didn't answer your question, feel free to try asking again next time. I just try to pick a handful so that we're not sitting here answering a ton of questions every time. And that way we have a good variety of stuff, too. So always feel free to re-ask your questions, and we'll try to get to you in a future episode. I think that's going to put a cap on today's episode of the show. So I just want to remind you guys all that this show is available in both audio and video formats. The video show can be found on YouTube, just doing a search for the Geek Easy Podcast. We would love if you hit that subscribe button. Also, liking and commenting is always good. I'm sure you hear that a bunch. That's how YouTube works and the algorithm works, but subscribers would be great right now. We're actually closing in on almost 500 subscribers on that channel, which is awesome. So it's cool to see people enjoying the video version of the show.
Yeah, we're gonna do something special if we hit 5,000.
If we hit 500?
500.
We probably should. We're getting close to it.
I was gonna say we gotta.
We should celebrate every big milestone like that.
We gotta come up with a celebration like we all do the cinnamon challenge at the same time.
Oh no! What? No! Cinnamon challenge. It's got to be something that like they have to come to the YouTube channel to watch though, so we can boost our our stats even more.
Like I said, the cinnamon challenge.
Okay, all right.
Triple threat cinnamon challenge.
Oh, jeez, this is gonna make a mess. Can we do it like not in here, so it's like we're spitting?
We're not.
All over my computer and sound equipment. There's cinnamon going everywhere.
We'll go outside or something. It'll be
that would be ridiculous. The audio version of the show is available on pretty much all of your podcast platforms: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean. Please leave us a review on iTunes. That will help us out a lot. Help us get the word out on the show. Otherwise, make sure you head on over to that Facebook page, like I said. You can keep in contact with us there. And also stay tuned, because we got those spinoff shows that we're doing right now as well. We've got The Streak Easy, where we're reviewing all of the Undertaker's WrestleMania matches leading up to WrestleMania. Bong. And we've got Marvel Good Yay, where we're going back and rewatching all the MCU movies leading up to Endgame. So a lot of fun stuff there. And if you're watching the video versions, we got fun little extras at the end of the Marvel videos, so go check those out. Any final words today, Jarin?
No, thanks for listening.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, thanks for listening. That's what you just said. That's what I just said.
The Geek Easy Podcast is a production of PixelDan.com. Musical tracks used in the intro and outro are used with full permission of the respective owners or creators. Intro and outro narrations are provided by me, Brian T. Stevenson. PixelDan.com's The Geek Easy Podcast is provided for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those solely of the hosts or guests and do not necessarily represent those of PixelDan.com or any other party. Be sure to join us next time for another installment of The Geek Easy Podcast.